Ah yes, anime. Have you heard about this shit? It's something alright. I've been a hesitant fan for most of my life, but only a stalwart fan for some of it. What do I mean? Well, not to sound like a 38-year-old millennial piece of shit, but back in my day, anime was a hell of a lot less horny. I mean, it was still horny, let's not kid ourselves, men have been masturbating to cartoons as far back as the Mona Lisa, but old school anime was less overtly horny compared to today's popular titles. Titles like Pre-Teen Ninja Battle Bitches, High School Deep Throat Club, and White Hut Magical Princess Blowbang Quest. These days I call myself a hesitant anime fan. I like anime, but always have to back it up with a load of caveats. I usually find myself distancing myself from it in conversation, referring to it as animated sci-fi from Japan or horror genre comics from Japan. This is partly from the old school days when just saying anime had people respond by saying, "What's that?" And partly from today when just saying anime has people respond by saying, "Oh, you mean Japanese cartoon porn." Trying to explain to a coworker that something called Katana Maidens is not pornography is a conversation I don't ever want to have. Now obviously there is a gigantic pile of modern anime that isn't just porn in disguise, but the stigma that anime is just pervy cartoons simply exists, and that won't change anytime soon. The part of my life where I was a stalwart anime fan was when I was a kid. Anime in the late 80s and early 90s was wild. I mean, I was like 9 years old. I thought ketchup was spicy, so my opinion of what was wild is sus, but I digress. As someone who was a big fan of fantasy and sci-fi already, finding something cool and exotic was something else. Transformers was cool, but Gundam was damn cool. He-Man was cool, but Berserk was damn cool. Dungeons & Dragons was cool, but Record of Lodoss War was damn cool. At least, I thought it was. I never actually got to enjoy it. Before the age of the internet, getting your hands on anime and manga was akin to untying the Gordian knot. With my weekly allowance, I could only get a couple of issues of manga. My go-to was Ranma 1/2 and Dragon Ball. I could occasionally save up for manga volumes, but I was a dumb kid and didn't have a job. I thought 50 cents was a lot of money. I never had any anime VHS cassettes, but would rent some from Blockbuster Video or other rental places on the weekend. And renting anime was always a mess because they never had the full run of anything. I remember renting Bubblegum Crisis episodes 3 and 4, Tenshin Moyo the movie, never having seen the anime or read the comics, Slayers episodes 7 and 8, just random bits of stuff from here and there. I could never find Lodoss War anime or manga, but it was always at the front of my mind. A cool Japanese animation take on swords and sorcery? Yes please. I spent my youth playing games like Shining Force and Breath of Fire and loved every minute of it. But Lodoss War and its cute elf girl Deedlit, who was always front and center, always eluded me. The crystal was always out of reach, the sword was always stuck in the stone, the princess was always in another castle. As I got older and the internet in all of its perverted glory came into existence, my quest for Lodoss War was never completed. It just passed me by. But then one day in 2020, the quest began once more in earnest. Some absolute fucking legends decided, yep, it's 2020, 30 years after Lodoss War's heyday, time to make a brand new game. I remember just sitting there, mouth agape, staring at Steam in actual shock and confusion. This fucking series has been dead for 30 years. Why now? Why is someone releasing a Lodoss game now? I did some exploring and there wasn't a big anniversary bash or remake or new series. Some crazy bastards literally just decided we need a new Record of Lodoss War game. Now. And being a series based off of Dungeons & Dragons, of course it had to be an RPG, it was a Metroidvania! Of course it had to be a Metroidvania. I promptly downloaded and installed the game and got to work. Now, this was last year during early access. I did a 1-minute review of the game and really enjoyed it. But now it's 2021 and the game has gone 1.0 and goddamn, it is good. You wake up in the middle of some sort of forest altar and proceed to murdering every goblin and imp in sight. Deedlit starts with only her trusty rapier, but it's proficient enough to murder these weak little creatures where they stand. Deedlit is seeking to find out where she is and how to get out. And she's going to stab everything in her way until she succeeds. You will very quickly start to find new weapons to try out. Some are spears or large swords, which are slow but very strong, and some are smaller, more portable weapons like short swords and knives, quicker to hit but don't hit quite as hard. In order to succeed, you are going to need to use everything at your disposal, and melee is only one part of the puzzle, so use whatever type you want to fit your playstyle. I choose the faster weapons because I like getting in, slashing fuckers up, and then getting out. As you traverse the battlegrounds, you will eventually find a bow and arrow. The tutorial starts off by kinda implying that it's more of a puzzle-solving sort of item, but it's another important part of your arsenal. Like your melee weapon, you find new and better bows as you proceed through the story. Some have really cool abilities like shooting more than one arrow or healing you when your arrow hits the enemy. I used that one for the rest of the game when I found it. It wasn't the strongest bow, but any chance to heal a bit of health without using a potion is clutch. Like I said, by the end of the game, you'll be swapping between all of your abilities, like swapping gears in a car? Is that how cars work? I really have no idea how cars work. The story is fine, it's what it is. The Lodoss series is over, so they couldn't get too crazy with what the game does story-wise. After you wake up, you eventually start seeing other characters from Lodoss War like Parn and Gim, but encounters with them always seem just a little bit off. As you continue through the game, bits of the story start fitting together. The story might not be great, but it's good enough and fits within the parameters of an old dead series. Plus, there are awesome fun cameos for hardcore fans of the series. You'll eventually start picking up and learning new spells. They're mostly of the smash enemy variety, but they can be helpful in clearing out a room that's loaded down with enemies. And trust me, you will find some rooms that are absolutely stuffed full of monsters. Seriously, just look at how hectic this game can get. Like any other Metroidvania, you will eventually start picking up power-ups that help you traverse the landscape. You get a slide to slide through tight fits, you get a double jump so you can traverse to higher ledges, you get a double jump upgrade which allows you to go even higher, and you do also get two elementals that join you, a wind elemental and a fire elemental, and these two are what really open the game up. In fact, I'd say they help propel the game to the top rungs of the Metroidvania ladder. Yeah, seriously, check this out. The Wind Elemental gives you the ability to float in the air, really good when paired with the bow, but it also adds wind damage to your attacks. The Fire Elemental doesn't give you a landscape traversal skill, but it does give you fire damage to your attacks. You can easily and quickly jump between both elementals with a simple button press. If you are facing an enemy weak to fire, swap to the fire elemental. If you are facing an enemy weak to wind, swap to the wind elemental. As you deal damage, you increase the strength of the element that you don't have equipped. And if you take damage, you lose strength of the element that you do have equipped. These levels go between 0 and 3. When your unequipped elemental hits level 3, it will start flashing to let you know that it's charged. If you then swap to that elemental, it will slowly start to heal you until you hit full HP or an enemy lands an attack. And as you continue attacking, you start leveling up the elemental you just unequipped. And when that hits level 3, you can swap to that one and it will continue to heal yourself. I'm not a great action game player by any stretch of the term. I love them, but I will fully cop to not being the best. Once upon a time, I was able to beat Demon's Souls, but I've never been able to beat any of the Dark Souls games. I'm more of a slow-paced RPG kind of guy. I just play action games because they can be a nice little change from the pace of plodding through fields and windows. Now, slight spoiler here, fam lol. When I hit the late game of Wonder Labyrinth, I ran face first into a boss rush. This wasn't optional, I had to finish it to continue the game. And on my first attempt, I was absolutely decimated halfway through. I ran out of healing potions and everything. I thought this is where I was going to give up and uninstall the game. I didn't think I could do it, but I tried again and really stayed on top of swapping elementals to heal myself, and I beat every single boss in that rush without using a single potion. As someone who admits to not being great at games, I was absolutely stoked. To clear through all of the previous bosses without using a single potion was so cool and so much fun. Swapping elementals to cause more damage, using the wind elemental to float and shoot arrows, landing, double jumping over the enemy and swapping to the fire elemental to heal and cause damage, loading up a spell to blast the enemy, sliding under fireballs, backdashing away from swords, swapping elements to constantly stay at full health. What an absolute rush. This is why I fell in love with the game. Yeah, I love the Lodoss War trappings, but this game is just well built. The combat is incredibly fun and satisfying. Also exciting is the game's music. The soundtrack is... Are we still saying lit? Is that still a thing? Anyway, it's lit or it slaps or whatever. It definitely cops some ideas from Symphony of the Night, but it's enough of its own thing to not be too distracting. Some of it sounds like it's straight from the original anime series, some of it is hard rockin', some of it is funky, some of it's classical, but a lot of it has bass lines that hit so fucking hard that even Chris Squire would be impressed. I had a lot of fun with Wonder Labyrinth. The visuals are gorgeous, the music is captivating, the source material fits really well, and most importantly, the gameplay is totally mesmerizing. Everything just clicks really well with this game. All the pieces fall into place in a really satisfying way. Once you master the combat, the game just transcends to another level. Put this up there with Super Metroid and Hollow Knight. Here we are in 2021, and I can finally say that I'm a Record of Lodoss War fan. All it took was a random game from a tiny company 30 years after the series concluded. But hey, better late than never. And now it's time to use modern day technology to go back and watch the anime. Hey, thanks for watching this video. It took longer than I thought, but it's nice to get back to these longer form discussions. If you liked the video, you can do all the things that you already know to do. You can like it, subscribe, ring the bell, and share it with a friend or two. So until next time, hug your pets, tell your friends and family you love them, and don't forget to look after yourself. Speak to you soon. See ya.